So taking care of the art is one thing, but you also have to look at it as a business. That's one of the key parts that a lot of people will have a bit of a mental paradigm shift that they might have difficulty with.
Welcome to the One Day at a Time podcast, where we take things one day at a time. Tune in the studio, we have Peter.
Hello.
From MICappella.
Hello, long time no see.
Yeah, Peter, can you do a quick introduction about yourself and the band?
Right. So I'm from MICappella and I'm the founder, vocal percussionist, and co-music director. We are a group of 6 people, 2 girls and 4 guys, and we do a cappella, and we are mostly Mando pop, but we also have some English. I would say nowadays we're about 50-50 with the covers and originals. Maybe a bit more originals nowadays. The trend is more and more originals. That should be the way. Yeah.
You know, I think a lot of Singaporeans already know MICappella because every year National Day, right? You will come up with some National Day medley that goes viral every year without fail. Right.
Well, we try.
Yeah, without fail. So I think, and one of the years, you even got invited to perform for the actual real National Day.
Yeah.
Right. So
yes.
People are really familiar with you lah. Right. So what I want to ask you is, why MICappella?
The name?
Yes.
It's actually kind of okay. So the official story is microphones, a cappella. So MICappella. MICappella.
Okay, but I don't know the non-PR story. What's like the real story?
So we were at one time in the early days, we were using like the is it a stairwell or a fire escape route. So it's not you're not supposed to be there, right? So we were using the dead spot of the camera to rehearse, so that it's private. I won't say where lah. Later the building management come after me. And then we scared that people outside can hear us. Well, hey, you MICappella. Oh, MICappella. MICappella sounds like a good band name. Hey, MICappella is a good cover story. And we actually borrowed that name from Rockapella. There is a band called Rockapella from the States. And they are still around. They were the ones that invented my job.
Right.
Yeah, so
like the OG acapella.
The OG, yeah, they are well into their mid-50s, late 50s now.
Wow.
And they're still going strong. So yeah, so we were thinking like that's a good combination of words, but let's change the first syllable. So what's unique about what we do? Well, the way we sound, we have to use mics and we have to do a lot of adjustments to the sound settings. So MICappella. That's how we started.
Acapella bands are not exactly at the forefront of like music especially when you first started, right?
Yep.
At that time, people were into like bands, right? Like rock music.
People still are.
Yeah, still are, right? So what drew you, or rather, what drew everybody in your band to wanting to do this acapella thing?
Me? No. Well, I was the one that did bring everybody into the band. So for Cal, she was already in university acapella club. In NUS. Eugene was in University of Michigan. Was it Michigan State? I can't remember. But he was in Michigan and then he was in a college a cappella group. So they already have contemporary a cappella backgrounds. Kersing didn't specifically have a cappella background, but she had backing vocals background.
Right.
She was with the David Tao team, toured around the world. So she completely has the elements required. Yeah, and obviously she likes it enough and she enjoys it and she agrees with the vision of the band. Junie was an interesting story. He was in a opposing band in local competition, a cappella band that beat us. So we stole him.
Nice.
It worked out. Mingwei was outright online search. Like we were like, okay, our previous bass needs to leave. Then now we need a new bass. Anybody know anybody? It's pretty much how we did it.
Word of mouth.
And he has no prior experience with a cappella specifically, or even choir. And now he's been with the band 10 years. Yeah. So
wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's been a while.
And I mean, being in a band, whether you're an a cappella band or a rock band or a pop band or boy band, everybody plays a role, right?
Of course.
For you, having run this a cappella band for like more than 15 years, right? What do you think are the key differences between a performance by an a cappella band and a performance by just a regular band with music, with instruments? Yeah.
I think there's something magical about the human voice, about when voices come together and do harmonies. To the average audience, I think the first person that you look at is the singer, right? That's the person that tells the story.
Yep.
And when you have more vocals stacked on top of each other, there's just a certain mesmerizing quality about it. And that's the first thing that catches my attention. I think it's the same for most of us who are doing a cappella. The fun part is to try to mimic instruments that we can't play, firstly. So that's the main reason why I started doing it, because I can't play real drums. I tried, but I'm the kind of guy that cannot drive manual. My limbs just cannot, like, the psychomotor is just not there. So it makes more sense for me to use my voice. And over time, it became what it is. And I can't go back now and start from zero with drum set, right? And it's the same way with a lot of other beatboxers and vocal percussionists. And on stage, it's just more freeing. If you're a drummer, you're sitting down and you can't move. There's no such thing as a wireless drum kit, right?
Right.
At least not in 2024. If you're watching this in 2044, maybe you'll be laughing at this clip. But I like the idea of being able to move around, have interaction with audience, have interaction between band members, instead of being stuck behind somewhere. It is just a more fluid form of performance. Yeah. Which is what it's all about. It's about interaction and connection.
Right. Having multiple vocalists, right, in a band, like just now you mentioned that, the first thing that people look at is the vocalist.
Yes.
Now that everybody is a vocalist of some sort, what is the balance? Who is like the focal point? Is there any like competition within the band on like who should take the main lines? How do you manage that?
I think the roles are fairly clearly defined. Firstly, is by voice part. So all of us are of different voice ranges. And that is quite defined.
Right.
So in our situation with so from the top to the bottom, we have a mezzo soprano, which is cursing. We have a high alto, which is Cal. Then coming down, we have a tenor / countertenor, which is Junie. We have Eugene, who is our baritone / low baritone. Sometimes he could do a bass. Mingwei is our bass / low baritone. So they sometimes flip around. And then I'm doing the drums. But when I do sing, I'm a high baritone. So I slot in between Junie and Eugene.
Right.
So there's no real complete overlap of two people with very similar voice types. So the voice types is already deconflicted, so to speak. Corporate term. Deconflicted. And the situation for who's singing lead, it really depends on the song. So sometimes if we are doing a cover, if the song cover is of that particular voice type, we will try to choose similar voice types to fit. Or if we want to change it up, then we just look for the contrast. Right? If it's a girl song, then we flip it over to a boy song. So we did that for a Khalil Fong song before. We turned it into a girl song. This is very, very long ago. And then other situations would be if we are doing a originals EP, our last originals EP, we actually assign each person to write one song. Right? Then you take care of the entire, you're the one that calls the shots. You are the music director for this song.
Right.
And then you do the lead. So each person took a lead. So it's clear. So the communication is the key point. Of course, balance is also a key point. And yes, it is tricky, but I think we got the hang of it by now.
I mean, as the founder of MICappella, who brought everybody together, like until today, are you still considered like the leader who kind of brings people together?
I guess so. I think bringing people together is more of in the early part of the band's lifespan thing. Everybody kind of knows what to do now.
Right.
Like the roles are fairly stable and defined.
Right.
So I don't need to like, hey guys, there's not much of that.
Right,
it's more like I need to take care of my stuff, and then we need to bring it to the table. And if everybody is on the ball and on target, then things work well.
Right.
If people are dropping the ball, then we're just like, dude, okay. Then we just pick it up. And that's been like, people drop the ball sometimes. I drop the ball sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
And we just remind each other and poke a bit. Hello, okay, let's keep moving. Otherwise, things fall by the wayside. And I think the general gist of the past 15 years has been getting better and better. So we have a certain trust that everybody's gonna do their role.
Like a well-oiled machine.
Well, 15 year, it's not.
Yeah, so you know,
You can look at a 15-year-old car, it's not exactly that well. We have our creaks and our cracks.
right.
Yeah, so
But it works.
it works.
Right. I mean, 15 years is actually a very, very long time for a band to be together. Like like in music or rather in like a company, we always say like having partners, right? Business partners or being in a band. It's like being in like a 5-way marriage, a 6-way marriage. Because like without the communication, without like the proper, structure, it tends to fall apart very quickly, right? That's why most bands, whether a cappella or not, they break up within the first year or two.
Yeah.
Like once you get past the 5-year mark, not many people get past the 5-year mark, lah, right? Not many people get past
That's not wrong, lah.
Yeah, that's not many. So like 15 years, right? 15 years. Like how do you think you guys did it with all the ups and downs and everything?
It's a bit of a. I mean, I try not to look back and delve into that too much because it is a little bit of a wow. But I think the first thing is we are fairly clear on the goal of the group. And we are all in agreement with that, and that's the first thing. Because we have to have commonality to be able to proceed, right? And people are on top of it themselves. So self-motivation and stubbornness, in a sense, is part of the integral. Like being able to sing is one thing,
Right.
Like if you're in a band with instruments, being able to play the instrument is one thing. But if you're not that passionate about it, it's not really gonna carry on for a long term.
Yeah.
So you gotta care about it, lah. You can call it love, you can call it indignance, stubbornness, whatever you call it. You can call it love for the art form. Whatever drives you has to be something innate. So if the person doesn't want it, I can't tell you to want it.
Yes, you can't force.
Yeah. So I think we found a group of people where we first and foremost were, are you interested? You have to have an interest, otherwise it's not gonna work.
Right. Yeah. And 15 years is a long time. I'm sure you have done like a bazillion gigs, like TV, radio, travel. You guys tour and all that. And you guys perform everywhere. What is your favorite memory of like the 15 years? It can be a show.
Any favorite?
Yeah, any favorite.
Any memory.
Yeah, it can be a show, it can be a tour, it can be a TV performance. Like what do you think like your personal favorite lah?
I think it's the first time we did NDP in 20.
Wow.
So we've done it twice, in 2018 and 2022.
Right.
Both were special. 2018 was particularly special because it was we had been doing our own NDP covers, and we're patriotic people, and we're quite proud of the fact that we go overseas and take part in music festivals and competitions.
Yes.
And people view us like, oh, you guys are from Singapore.
Right.
So there's a sense of representation, and we've always been aware of that. And we wanted to see if we could get an opportunity to get on board with NDP. And at that point, we were at year 9, which is not short either, right? So to finally get a chance to get on a stage in front of national audience was like, at that point, I wasn't exactly a rookie performer.
Yeah.
And we were not exactly a rookie group, but it was still very nerve-wracking. And I hadn't felt that much fear in a while, in a good way. Then, of course, a very close second is 2022, which was the first post-COVID normal
National Day,
right? So there was a certain emotion that comes with that of, wow, people, real massive crowds. I forgot what it was like. Right? So that was different.
Yeah.
But that was like a global common trauma.
Yeah.
So that was different kind of a personal thing. Yeah.
With every like great performance will come performances that is not that great.
Oh,
right?
boy.
Ups and downs, right? So in your personal experience, right, what do you think is the most toughest performance or gig that you guys have had to like power through?
It wasn't a gig per se. It was the Sing of China thing.
Oh, right.
in Shenzhen 12 years ago. So we were given a one-way trip there, not knowing when we're gonna fly back, because it depends on how well or not well we do, right?
Yes.
So every week we could have gone home. We ended up staying for 12 weeks.
Wow, that's 3 months.
Yeah. So by the end of everything, we were like, I want to go home. So that was the toughest part. So it wasn't the show itself. It was just the not knowing. But of course, you on the one hand, you want to come home. On the other hand, you want to do well in advance.
Yeah.
So we by the time we made it to the end, we came back to Singapore, right? We were like, okay, I don't want to talk to you for like 3 weeks. We just really want, like, we don't talk until this date, okay? Then we reconvene and then we makan, okay? Then we can have come down, okay? Then we come back to becoming like back in Singapore and rooted. Because 3 months overseas is just too much at one go. Yeah. We weren't expecting to suddenly become expats. That wasn't a plan.
True.
Yeah.
And it was a bunch of you. It's not like a single person.
Yep.
And you go, you kind of can make the call or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a company decision, it's a family.
Yeah.
So
it was a collective thing. So it was, okay, let's do it. But as the weeks wore on, it got more and more of a struggle. But we pulled through.
Yeah.
And looking back, I'm glad we did it.
Do you think this was part of the experience that made you guys so tight-knit?
Yes.
Probably, right? I mean, 3 months together in a foreign country.
You can survive that, you can survive a lot of things.
Yeah. It's not like they say about marriage. Before you get married, you should travel with your boyfriend or girlfriend, right? Then you can see each other better.
Wow, this kind of travel is epic lah. Don't need to so epic. Can chill a bit.
I mean, it's 15 years is really long time. You guys have done like many things that many bands dream of, right? And I mean, we are all in the music scene in one way or another. And I noticed that apart from you being in the band, you also actually mentor a lot of like up and coming young a cappella musician type people. You organize like events. I mean, I see you on Facebook like doing stuff lah. I don't exactly know what you're doing, but I see you're doing stuff, right?
Yeah.
So like what, having like been part of, I think, Singapore's most prominent a cappella band, right? You are looked up to by many people who want to do this a cappella thing, and what do you think, right, the a cappella scene in Singapore looks like right now compared to when you first started?
I think there's a lot more people who are in the art form per se, just in and of itself. So the majority of the local community that actually is active would be tertiary. So back when I created the band, where there was mostly NUS. I think there was one other group, I can't remember. But NUS was the only club for quite a long time. And then now, NTU has a club. I think, so SMU has a club, NTU has a club, who else? RP has a club, NP has a club. So the number of colleges is just expanded greatly. And I think part of it is the sing-off competition where Pentatonics came out of. Then Pentatonics themselves pushed it further. Then Pitch Perfect 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
So all those things really help to spread the popularity, and that's where you see a lot of the new clubs popping up. But it's not like after those shows and bands have kind of stayed there, they didn't wane in popularity. I don't think that clubs closed down. Yeah. So I think that's first and foremost where the community is coming from. They do get together, I think twice a year. There's this gathering that's like an open gathering.
Right.
So they kind of are in touch. Sometimes they go to Voices Festival stuff at Esplanade in December. If there's a cappella specific things, they get together at that. But I do think that it's not exactly related to MICappella per se. I think we are just one of the multiple groups in Singapore. We just happen to be choosing it to be a career. I mean, there are a lot of people who play basketball, but I mean, most people don't go pro, right?
Fair enough.
So it's just a choice,
right?
And of course, you have to the work ethic to put in the time.
Yep.
And then with that, you get better. But not everybody wants to, and that's
fair.
That's completely up to them.
Yes.
And I respect that. But I do think that it's vibrant and diverse. And every group sounds very different, has different composition of voice parts and members and colors, which is great.
Right.
And I don't think I'm a mentor per se, because I'm not actively meeting with groups every week, or that kind of thing. There's no regularity to it. Sometimes people ask me, so how was your experience with the and I share lah. It's just sharing between people who like the same thing, And I think that's great, and I hope that can carry on.
Right. A bit like a community club, right? Where
it is. It's kind of a loose collective right now. There's there's nothing official. Sorry, there's no website to direct you to. Would you like us to create something?
Oh, yeah.
Please hit us up. But we do hope that we can be a point of resource for groups that want to ask questions. And I'm happy to answer questions. Right. Yeah.
So, if there's anybody that's like just interested in a cappella, or maybe they've been working on it with their group and they are thinking of going pro, like making it a part of their career, making it a career, right? I mean, like everybody in MICappella, apart from doing MICappella, has a bunch of other stuff that they do in music, because creative people have multiple interests right? But like if a band or like an individual who loves a cappella is thinking of going pro, what would be your advice for them? How should they start exploring that?
So taking care of the art is one thing, but you also have to look at it as a business. And that's one of the key parts that a lot of people will have a bit of a mental paradigm shift that they might have difficulty with. But you have to first look at your product. Like, what are you putting on stage? What are you putting out into the cloud? Whether it's YouTube or Spotify or whatnot.
Right.
What would that product attract? What kind of people? So who's your demographic? Right? Then after that, you have to get on the relevant platforms. And then, for example, we are mostly Mando pop group. Right? So for us, clearly we need to appeal to also overseas populations with large Mandarin-speaking audiences. So Taiwan, China, Hong Kong. So we also try to delve into Douyin. So we have a partner that helps us run our China social media. We just started recently.
Okay.
And we might be getting into other platforms like Xiaohongshu, which we haven't gotten into yet. So that's part of the strategy. So you have to look at it in these ways. So if let's say you are a band that is doing fill in the blank genre, you have to look at where your audiences would go online and consume that media. And then make sure that you have a clear presence there. Spend the money, design the marketing plan, so to speak, and then execute it. Yeah, you can find somebody like the person who's off camera here, who has massive. There's nothing to pan, right? Yeah. So we can introduce people who are good at this kind of marketing thing. They can help you design a tactical strategy. That suits your band's sound.
Right. So it's really like a tech startup, right? It's like starting a company,
it is a startup.
Right?
It's
like
a form of startup.
Right. The talent is like maybe like interior design, that's the talent, but you still have to learn how to run accounts, run marketing, do branding, and all that kind of thing. Right?
Correct. The dry stuff that has nothing to do with the art form per se. But if you want to go pro, the insinuation is you want to make money, right? You want to make money, then you have to do accounts, Then you must have your website, your business card, all your socials must be there.
All the admin paperwork, everything.
Yeah, because the first thing is, so how do we find you? If people like your music, how do we find you? Then you're like, actually we don't have a website. Then how? You got socials? Actually we don't have. Then how to find you? Go your house and knock door. Cannot. So it has to be a structure that people will be able to latch on to. Yeah.
And 15 years, right? You guys are having a big show, right? A big show in mid-November, right? If someone has not bought tickets yet, where can they find tickets to this big show? Can you share with us?
Yes, you can go to cystic.com.sg, or you can find the relevant links at MICappella.com. That's MICappella.
Well, you gotta hire his PR company. PR very, very well PR trained. And if you're not already following you, right? Where can he find you? On your TikTok, your Instagram, your Douyin, everything.
So we have all everything that he said, but we also have of course YouTube. So we do post long form and short form. We also have a Weibo if you happen to be watching this from China. 所以其实我们也可以用双语跟你们沟通，所以可以在各大的中国自媒体平台也可以找得到我们。Yeah.
Well, damn, a really damn well trained this guy. Well, 15 years. I guess that's what 15 years of experience gets you, know. But thank you so much for coming in today, Peter.
Thank you for having us.
Very big fan, and I think everybody's looking forward to your big show.
Yes, please come down.
And any extra fan service or not?
So there's group discount.
Oh, nice.
If you got kids who are in school, there's student discount.
MICappella is a family band, right? So
Yeah,
must
yeah,
have
so-
must have family discount. Yeah,
I tell you, last time it's like, oh my gosh, my girlfriend likes you. Oh my god, my boyfriend likes you. Then it became, oh my gosh, my wife loves you. Oh, my husband loves you. Then now it's, oh my gosh, my kids love you. Oh, lao le.
growing with the ages, growing with the people.
Now it become multi-generational.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's quite interesting, and it's very fulfilling to know that we have people who have followed us through significant amount of time. So if you're watching this, we really appreciate it. We thank you, and let's hope to share more music together down the road.
Thank you for coming in, Peter.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll see you next time on the One Day at a Time podcast. Peace.
Bye bye.
Nice. Fade out.